Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Matthew Mercer's Candela Obscura, which is running on the new Illuminated Worlds rule system, and why, as we look at this, it shows something. It shows that the power of Dungeons and Dragons history cannot be escaped, and if Critical Role is going to succeed like Dungeons and Dragons, it has to repeat Dungeons and Dragons history and get its own Lorraine Williams. All right, so let me give you a little bit of D&D history, okay? Gary Gygax controlled creatively and commercially Dungeons and Dragons from 1974 to 1986. This was a massive mistake. He should have controlled it creatively and given commercial control to someone who was actually good at business, right? But Gary was not good at business. He had huge hubris, he had huge courage, right? And he had vision, right? But he did not have business acumen, right? And he ran TSR into the ground. And when he did that, right, he realized that he had cocked it up royally. And so what he did, he went and he actually got someone who actually had real business acumen. And that person was Lorraine Williams. She was a brilliant CEO. And she realized what the value was, right? The value of Dungeons and Dragons was Dungeons and Dragons. TSR was not valuable. It never was going to be valuable. It was a very ill-formed company that had been crafted by the Blooms brothers and Gary Gygax, and frankly, it was worthless. TSR is worthless today, but Dungeons and Dragons is not. So because she knew business, Lorraine Williams absolutely injected massive amounts of stability and value into Dungeons & Dragons from 1986 to 1997. And she saved Dungeons & Dragons from Gary's hubris, right? Now, Critical Role, right? Brilliant creatives, right? So we have Matthew Mercer and no one else, right? Matthew Mercer is the heart of Critical Role. And I haven't seen any, I think Sam Riegel's really smart, but he takes everything that's brilliant that he creates and covers it in filth, right? Just like smears junk all over it and genital jokes and he's very smart, but he also just he can't move past genital jokes. He just can't, right? It's his limitation, right? Kind of sad because I think he's really brilliant and I think he could do something important, but he refuses to do that, right? So there is no one in Critical Role with actual business acumen, in my humble opinion, right? So they desperately need a Lorraine Williams. Let me give you proof of this, right? So Talos and Jaffe, they allow Critical, like Travis Willingham, I think he's the CEO of Critical Role, and Talos and Jaffe's like, I got a good idea for Candela Obscura. And I'm pretty sure Travis Willingham was just like, you go, buddy. I know it's going to be great. I don't think anybody read it, and they were like, I'm sure Taliesin had a good idea, right? And actually, literally, Hollywood people are famous for not reading scripts and just signing on to whatever comes up, right? And I think that's exactly what happened. But, Candela Obscura is horribly, horribly crafted from the concept idea, right? So basically, in my humble opinion, what Taliesin Jaffe did was he went and he read, I actually think he read the whole thing. I think he read Blades in the Dark, right? Which is brilliant. And it has a world called Duskfall. And I think what he said was I'll copy Duskfall. And if you look at it, man, it's a bog standard copy of Duskfall with one or two changes. But the changes are catastrophically bad, right? So in Duskfall, there's no secret. Supernatural is real, right? And the people live with the supernatural every single day in Duskfall in the setting of Blades in the Dark. But Taliesin Jaffe was like, what if it was secret? What if all the supernatural was secret? I'll make that change. Well, the change sucks, right? And here's why, right? Candela Obscura says three things. It says the magic is real. The magic is dangerous. The magic is powerful. And then it says the magic is secret. And it doesn't work, right? If it's real, if it's dangerous, and if it's powerful, it will become obvious, right? He has injected Men in Black into the middle of Duskfall, which was perfect. Darn near perfect. It was darn near perfect, right? And so he's like, ooh, remember that Men in Black thing where, all these cool things happen and then you have to spend a whole bunch of time cleaning up? And there's a whole team that has to come along and convince everybody that what happened didn't happen, right? And that's what he did. And I'm like, dude, did you pay attention? Men in Black did not work, right? everybody loved Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Nobody really liked Men in Black. Then they did a second one, and people liked that less. And then they did a third one, and people liked that even less. And then they remade it, and everybody's like, no, we rejected this at 2 and 3 the first time, right? And so Taliesin Jaffe's change of Duskfall, the thing that he correctly identified as awesome and copied, he made it worse with his only real change, all right? And again, if they had had a Lorraine Williams in there, she would have been like, well, I know what Men in Black is. I know that didn't work, and I know that people don't like. Also, I read Mage the Awakening, right? Like, who wants to be a wizard who has to, like, hide every spell that she casts? Nobody, right? So Taliesin Jaffe, just, again, terrible idea to put him in charge of anything, in my humble opinion. And the reality is we've reached a point where Critical Role absolutely needs its own Lorraine Williams in order to go forward. Somebody's got to get in there that every single person on Critical Role hates, but who has actual business acumen and can get them to the next stage. Because right now, you got creatives making commercial decisions, and it is not working. It is not working, right? In my humble opinion. So, and I mean, and what I mean by not working is this will keep all of them in jobs and doing well for a long time during their life, but it's not like Dungeons and Dragons. It's not going to be able to be handed over to anyone else right now. That every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get into the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.